Well, my name is Nick Zachos, and we're in Hudson, New York, kind of midway up the Hudson Valley in between New York City and Albany. And we're here with the Eleanor, which is a historic yacht, a sloop, which was sailed for many years on the Hudson River and is now in a warehouse here in Hudson, ready to be restored as a not-for-profit venture, trying to turn it into a community project to learn about boat building and boat design and hopefully fix it up and get to teach people about sailing on the river and being on the river, which is something that's kind of been a little disconnected from a lot of the towns in the Hudson River in recent years. Even though they're all right here, a lot of people don't have access to or don't get on the water very much. There's a little debate about when it was designed. We think it was designed by Clinton Crane, who was a pretty famous naval architect. Definitely around the turn of the century, the early 1900s. There was a date of 1905 that was being passed around, but some more evidence may have come to light, putting it closer to 1903. It would have been a racing boat. It's an incredibly sleek, long, narrow design, very hydrodynamic and fast, designed to turn very quickly, and designed to not draw a huge amount of water, because the Hudson River has some channels that are deep, but for the most part there's a lot of shallow spots, and so you need to be able to go and tack in some pretty shallow water. And so it's designed for that, and it was owned by pretty wealthy families for a bulk of the century, who would have gone out pleasure cruising or maybe even racing on the Hudson River. The family who owned it for the last probably 50 or 60 years, I believe, they had it and they used it as a family boat. They would sail in it up and down the river and go down to New York City. At a certain point, when upkeep became a little too much, they ended up deciding that it should go to an organization that could take care of it, which was a yacht restoration school in New England that ended up not being able to take care of it and consequently defaulted, and it came back to the family, who then found an idea here in Hudson with a boat builder named Cass and Kennedy to try to restore it for the town and try to make it into a project that could happen here and involve the community in getting it back going again. So it would have had a single mast. It would have been a sloop, gaff rigged, which means that off of the initial mast is another piece of wood that allows the sail area to extend more than what it otherwise would off of a typical single mast. And then it would have also had a jib on the front of it, which would have also increased its sail area. So when it really wanted to have all sails out, it could have a decent amount of sail area. It's got a really long, narrow deck up on top that would have been probably a canvas deck, a very small little cabin in the back, a little area that you could sit while cruising. It definitely wasn't a pleasure cruiser. I mean, I think you could have gone and had fun on it and relaxed, but it wasn't a cat boat or a wider boat where lots of people can come and sit and drink martinis. And I think it was much more designed to go fast in the water. Right now we've got it partially sanded and scraped off, and what we exposed when we did that, which you can see here, is 3 different kinds of wood, which is very interesting for the planks of the boat. And it is double hulled, so there's a set of planks that we can see, and then inside there's another set of planks. The process that we're going through right now is a very slow process, but it's the correct and traditional way to go about fixing a boat like this, which has probably been in the water for most of its summers, springs, and some falls, and then would probably get hauled out every year. And when it would get hauled out, all the wood would dry up and shrink and cause all kinds of deformations in the boat. And as the boat got pulled out and got supported in different ways, and probably not all properly, the boat would have sagged in different points. And especially the long boat that we have here, the long, narrow bow and stern, have sagged over the years. And you can see it if you take a step back. You can see that the bow and the stern actually sink down a good bit from the midship of the boat. And where most boats, the shear line, which is the line at the very top of the boat where the decking meets the planking, you normally see a smile. You normally see either straight flat, rarely, but most likely you often see a smile in the shear. And in this boat you can actually see a frown. You can see that it's unhappy and it's sagging. And so what we're trying to do is to kind of get an idea for the shape of the boat and do that in the traditional way of taking the lines off of the boat. And what we do is we actually draw out exactly what all of the lines of the boat are, like a blueprint for a house. except when you're doing that with a boat, you actually create what's called a table of offsets, where you collect numbers of calculations of different parts of the boat in relation to one line, one center line going down the middle of the boat, that then allow you to chart the entire boat. There's a couple of fun tricks that you can use to actually try to get back close to what the original boat builder designed, which is a fun thing to do, to take a boat that's been moving for 100 years and changing shape and try to get it back to that original shape. And if we could do it, it would really be pretty amazing.